In the heart of the Appalachian Mountains lies a small, forgotten town that time seems to have forgotten. The once bustling streets are now eerily quiet, and the once thriving businesses now lay abandoned and forgotten. Many say that the town is cursed, and that those who enter it never return the same. Legend has it that the town was founded in the early 1800s by a group of settlers who were looking for a fresh start. They built their homes and businesses, and soon the town was thriving, but then something strange happened. People began disappearing in the night, and no one knew where they had gone. Some say that it was the work of a crazed killer, while others believe that it was the curse of an old witch who lived in the nearby woods. Despite the strange happenings, the town continued to grow. But as more and more people disappeared, the town's population dwindled. Those who remained began to feel uneasy, and whispers of ghosts and evil spirits filled the air. As the years passed, the town became more and more isolated. The roads leading the town were overgrown and impassable, and few visitors who did make it through never stayed long. Those who did stay reported strange happenings, like objects moving on their own and ghostly apparitions. One day, a group of ghost hunters arrived in the town, determined to uncover the truth about its haunted past. They set up their equipment and began their investigations. But it wasn't long when they realized that they were in for over their heads. The spirits of the town seemed to be very angry, and they didn't take kindly to outsiders. The ghost hunters reported strange occurrences, like their equipment malfunctioning and doors slamming shut on their own. They even claimed to have seen the ghost of the town's former residents wandering the streets at night. But it wasn't until one of the hunters disappeared that they realized just how dangerous the town really was. Despite the danger, the remaining ghost hunters continued their investigation. They discovered that the town's curse was the work of an old witch who had been angered by the settlers' presence. She had placed a curse on the town, ensuring that it would never thrive and that its residents would always suffer. As the ghost hunters delved deeper into the town's past, they began to experience strange visions and nightmares. They saw the witch's twisted face in their dreams and felt her presence all around them. They knew they had to leave, but they also knew that the curse of the town would never leave them. Years later, the town remains abandoned, its buildings slowly crumbling to the ground. Some say that the ghosts of its former residents still wander the streets at night, and the witch's curse still holds sway. But no one knows for sure. And those who dare to enter the town never return the same. Some say that the town is cursed forever and that its dark secrets will never be revealed. But others believe that one day, someone will come along who will break the curse and bring light to the town once again. Until then, the town remains a haunting reminder of a time long forgotten and a testament to the power of the supernatural. There are those who say that the town's curse has spread beyond its borders, infecting the nearby woods and causing strange occurrences for miles around. Hikers and campers report feeling watched, and strange noises in the night. Some even claim to have seen ghostly apparitions moving through the trees. But it's not just the woods that are haunted. Nearby towns and cities have their own tales of ghostly happenings, all of which seem to be linked to the cursed town. Some believe that the witch's curse has spread like a virus, infecting everything in its path. Despite the danger, there are those who are drawn to the cursed town. Some seek to break the curse and free the town from its torment, while others are simply drawn to the darkness and mystery that surrounds it. Whatever the reasons, they all know that the town is a dangerous place, and that the ghosts of its past are not to be trifled with. One such adventurer was a young woman named Sarah. She had always been fascinated by the supernatural and had spent her life studying the occult and investigating haunted locations. When she heard about the cursed town, she knew that she had to see it for herself. Sarah arrived in the town on a dark and stormy night. The streets were empty, and wind howled through the abandoned buildings. She felt a churn running down her spine, but she pressed on, determined to uncover the truth about the town's curse. As she walked through the deserted streets, Sarah felt as though she was being watched. She heard whispers on the wind, and she saw shadows moving in the corners of her vision. But she refused to be scared off and continued on her quest. It wasn't long before she realized that she was not alone in the town. She saw the ghost of its former residents moving through the streets, their pale faces illuminated by the light of the moon. She felt her icy breath on her neck and heard their mournful cries. But Sarah was not afraid. She knew that the ghosts were not there to harm her, but rather to warn her of the danger that lay ahead. She continued deeper into the town until she came upon an old abandoned house on the outskirts. As she approached the house, she felt a sense of dread washed over her. She knew that the witch who had cursed the town lived there, and she was the key to breaking the curse. But she also knew that the witch was not to be trifled with, and that she would face grave danger if she entered the house. Sarah took a deep breath and stepped inside. The interior of the house was dark and musty, and Sarah could hear the creaking of the floorboards beneath her feet. She called out, but there was no answer. She pressed on until she came to a door at the end of the hallway. Sarah knew that this was the witch's room. She could feel the magic in the air, and the hairs on the back of her neck stood on end. She pushed open the door and stepped inside. The witch was waiting for her. She sat in a chair by the fire, her eyes gleaming with malice. Sarah could feel the power radiating off of her and knew that she was in grave danger. But Sarah was not one to back down. She approached the witch and began to speak, calling all upon her knowledge of the occult to break the curse of the town. The witch sneered at her, but Sarah persisted. As she spoke, Sarah felt a shift in the air. She could feel the curse breaking, and the ghost of the town's former residents began to fade away. She knew that she had succeeded. With a final burst of energy, Sarah cast the witch's magic aside, and the curse was broken. The witch let out a scream of fury and vanished into thin air, leaving behind only a puff of smoke. Sarah breathed a sigh of relief, looked around the room, and she saw the walls were adorned with strange symbols and artifacts, evidence of the witch's dark magic. She knew that she had stumbled upon something powerful and dangerous. As she made her way back to the town, Sarah felt a sense of unease wash over her. She knew that the curse had been broken, but she knew that the witch's magic was still out there, waiting to be discovered. The town was different now. The streets were no longer deserted, and the buildings were no longer abandoned. People had started to move back into the town, hoping to start a new life. But Sarah could see that the town was not the same as it once was. The shadows were darker, and the air was colder. Over time, Sarah came to realize that the curse had not been completely broken. The town was still haunted, and the witch's magic still lingered, she knew that there was still work to be done. And the curse would continue to haunt the town until every last trace of the witch's magic had been purged. Sarah spent the rest of her life investigating the supernatural, always keeping an eye on the cursed town. She knew that the witch's magic was still out there, waiting to be discovered, and that there were others that would seek to harness its power. But Sarah was not afraid. Sarah knew that the curse could be broken and that the town could be saved. She would continue to investigate the supernatural, always ready to fight against the darkness that threatened to consume the world. And so the town remained haunted, its streets shrouded in mystery and its buildings filled with ghostly apparitions. But the people who lived there knew that they were not alone. They knew that there were those who would fight for their town, and that the curse could be broken. The cursed town would always be a place for darkness and danger, but it was also a place of hope. A place where the brave and the bold could fight against the forces of darkness and emerge victorious. A place where the supernatural was real and where the power of magic could be felt in the air.